Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another evening of learning Islam with Masjid As-Sabur, Sacramento. My name is Haazim Rashed and I am the Imam of Masjid As-Sabur, Sacramento. We are located at 4926 15th Avenue, Sacramento, California. We would like to make sure that everyone knows that you are all invited. Every Friday at 1:30 p.m. we have Jummah prayer, and we also have our services on Sundays. Every fourth Sunday we go to feed the poor at Loaves and Fishes. So please come out, join with us. Let's put this work of changing the world as a priority. This evening we are discussing the concept of striving with the question, what are we striving for? And I just wanted to preface that by saying every human being strives for something, whether we know it or whether we don't. The key issue is knowing that you are striving for something. So what is important about that striving? We're going to be reading from our holy book, the Holy Quran, to help us in that endeavor. But as always, let us begin properly. We always begin with the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I openly bear witness that there is no God but the one God, and I openly bear witness that Muhammad, to whom the Quran is revealed, is his slave, servant, and apostle. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallahu wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. This evening, as we discuss the topic of striving, we're going to be reading from our holy book, Surah 53, An-Najm, or the Star, and we're reading from ayats or verses 38 through 41. Let us begin. As always, when we read from our holy book, we begin, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge with Allah from the rejected enemy. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. That no bearer of burdens will bear the burden of another, and that there is not for man except that for which he strives, and that his effort is going to be seen. Then he will be recompensed for it with the fullest recompense. Now, what is this saying to us? In essence, it's saying whatever burden you have, nobody but you can bear it. And whatever you are striving for, it will be revealed to everyone. So two things are being put forth here. One, personal accountability. Whatever problems or difficulties you have, those difficulties are yours. You must learn how to deal with them. Now, do you deal with them alone? No. You deal with them with the help of God. And when you call on God to help you, the one thing that you are guaranteed is that He will get you through. But you must call on Him and be willing to accept His help in the way that He gives it to you. That's why it says no burden bearer can bear the burden of another. If you come to me for help, I really can't help you. It is only God that can truly give you the help that you need with whatever problem you have. Now, does that mean we don't go and seek help all around the world? No. God has put resources out there to help us. They just cannot bear the burden that we personally are accountable for. Now, once God said that we bear our own burdens, he then goes on to talk about that striving. Because you see, I'll put it like the motivational speakers put it. You know how the motivational speakers put it? They say every human being needs something in their life that inspires them to get up in the morning. They even say that if you don't have that one thing that inspires you, you need to sit down and write it up and figure out that one thing that will motivate you each day to get out of the bed with a cheerful countenance and a desire to strive. And then they tell you one more thing. They tell you that once you have that thing that motivates you to get out of bed and you really want to be successful, then you ask that power that you believe in that is greater than you for the strength to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Now, I'm not talking about the religious people. I'm talking about those people that are selling all of these self-motivation tapes and Make Yourself $1 Million and Tony Rollins and Tony Robbins and all of these folks. This is what they talk about. But now when you translate it back to the Word of God, God says whatever you strive for will come in sight. Now what does that mean? If you're not striving for the right thing, when it comes in sight, it might not be what you want other people to see. You know, we've been listening to this litany of abuse out of the Catholic Church. Now, the Catholic Church always established itself as a religious body devoted to the service of God. But what have they had to fight over for the last 20 plus years? Priest child abuse. Think about it. Now, what does this mean? Their pope and their hierarchy were striving for one thing, but the people that were actually on the ground charged with the day-to-day responsibility to manifest that striving had a whole different striving in mind. When we say that whatever you strive for will come in sight, what it's saying is very simply what we have all begun to learn. Everything is going to be revealed one way or the other. You know, they used to talk about, I remember this movie that was called The Picture of Dorian Gray. And in The Picture of Dorian Gray, this man always looked beautiful. But when you went to look at his picture was horrific. Because all of his depravities, all of his sins, his abuses, all of the bad things that would normally be made manifest on a human being's face was not made manifest on his face, but made manifest on his picture. And then when that picture was finally revealed, it was so horrible, and then it came back on the man and he died. You know, many of us lead Dorian Gray lives. We have a facade, a face that looks beautiful. But behind that facade and behind that face, what is there? Would you want what's behind that facade and that face to be revealed? Would you want everybody to know what you do in the dark? If you do not want that to happen, then you need to begin to change what you strive for. Because what you're striving for is not a benefit to you, and it will be made manifest. You can't hide the truth forever. Now, why is that an important concept for us as religious people? Because in our lives, we are always influenced to hide stuff. How are we influenced to hide stuff? Look at the examples that we see on our TV sets. parents lying to children, children lying to parents, parents lying to their parents. You know, we never have people being shown having an honest conversation. It's a conversation that is directed to give people the feeling that will make them most comfortable, but not give them the truth that will enable them to grow. This society does not encourage the sharing of truth. Truth is hard. Truth can be harsh. Truth means you got to deal with a change in yourself. But in this society of, oh man, I'll go along to get along. You know, we shouldn't be that hard on each other. Live and let live. All of these sort of languages of accommodation. We are simply saying and doing that which will accommodate other people's feelings. Whether it will benefit other people or not, we are willing to be accommodating. Now let's look at that contrast. When you are willing to be honest to benefit people, you know that you cannot be accommodating. Because when you are accommodating, you will tell people what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. And we have to be people who speak the truth. The reason that we have to be people who speak the truth is because if we truly believe in God and we truly are servants of God, we have to be that voice in this world that is not afraid. You know, the Muslim creed that we begin with every program, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I openly bear witness that there is nothing I should be afraid of, I should worship, I should serve, but the one God Allah. Now, why do we always say that? Because as Muslim, that is our daily recitation. We are going to say that at least 5 times every day. And we're going to say it alone in congregation, you know, driving down the road, doing whatever. Why? Because it is a part of our creed that we know is the key to success. As we try to develop this subject, one of the things that came to mind is the fact that it doesn't matter what you're striving for in terms of hiding it. If you're striving for good, that's going to come out. If you're striving for anything other than good, that's going to come out. What comes out is coming out because the basic human nature desires truth. I say that because if you'll look, our society manifests all of the characteristics of a dishonest society. Hypocrisy is practiced around us so much we think it's the norm. Now, what does hypocrisy do to the human being that's striving to bear their own burden? It increases their burden. Because you see, I'll put it this way. It's harder to remember a lie than to tell the truth. In this society, we have lies prepared for every eventuality, and yet and still we run into trouble. Because the lies stop adding up and people look at us and go, "Are you crazy? Because what you just said doesn't make any sense." And we're going, "Well, wait a minute. I didn't mean it that way. What I meant was." And when we start hearing that conversation, everybody does this one. You lying. So how do we get around that? We have to be honest. Now, the other time that it affects us is in our health. If you notice, whenever you're telling a lie, there is a physical change in you. You start sweating a little more. That collar gets a little tighter. You know, you grin more. And you're trying to get through it. Those conflicts begin to develop stress within your body. The more lies you tell, the more stressful it becomes. And then when your body is too stressed, it starts to have illness, hypertension, high blood pressure, bad diets, cortisones. We end up having possibly diabetes or other health issues. All the things that can prematurely end our lives begin to take over. Now, I know y'all gonna tell me the doctor doesn't say that. The doctor says you got to control your diet, you got to exercise, you got to do these things to make yourself healthy. But ask any doctor what is the most pernicious. I like that word. Pernicious meaning it is everywhere cause of disease in this society. And they will tell you it is stress. What creates stress? Stress is created by the conflict between what you say and what you do. If what you say and what you do are not the same, you develop stress. As you develop that stress, what happens to you? Well, you worry. Because now you got to worry if that lie you told Sally is going to get back to her, or if she and Julie are going to sit down and know that you lying. Then you got to worry about the fact that, well, you know, I told this lie on the job. Is my boss going to find out? Will that affect how I have work? All of these lies begin to create a stressful situation in your life. That stressful situation in your life creates a stressful situation in your body. Your body then responds to that stress as if it was something it could fight physically, but it's purely mental. And when the body wants to fight something physically, what happens? We get that surge of energy called adrenaline. And then we can fight or flight. But now what happens when you have that surge of energy and all you can do is sit there and look crazy? It begins to wear your body out. You begin to have higher blood pressure. You begin to have more worries. And it gets worse and worse and worse till it could even cause your death. But we have to clarify what we're striving for. You know, most people don't know what they're striving for. They're just out there. What are you striving for? Can you write down what you're striving for? Can you put a target date on what you're striving for? And are you willing to work hard to make it come true? Those are basic questions that we all need to be asking each other. And my advice to you is ask yourself in front of a mirror. And look at yourself, because you know when you're lying. Make sure you're not lying to yourself as you describe those things that you want to achieve. And remember one thing, God will not be an obstruction to your good goals. So let's strive to do good. Let that become manifest in each one of our lives. And guess what's going to start happening to the society? You know, people are real funny. They have to see things to believe them. Most people won't believe in honesty till they see people being honest. And then their mouth goes, wow, you mean I can be honest? We have to recognize that God has given us the power to be anything. We just have to have the courage to put it out there and then go for it. You know, many of us are so afraid of not achieving our goal, we never establish a goal. And if you don't have a goal to strive for, guess what you strive for? The lowest common denominator. And the lowest common denominator is to be an accommodating, shiftless, worthless suck up. Is that the kind of life you want for you? Is that the kind of manifestation you want your children to see? Or do you want to be that human being that, one, makes a commitment, two, clearly states that commitment, and then begins to reshape their lives to achieve that commitment? Because then you become that example that people want to follow. You become that example that people want to cite. But until you make those decisions, you basically are killing yourself. Now, we can always fall back on excuses. I mean, we have developed a society with so many excuses I can't even tell you. Oh, you're a basic failure because your parents didn't treat you right. Okay, you've been out the house 20 years. What the heck are you talking about? Well, you know, everything is so competitive, you may not have had the encouragement you needed. Excuse me. Strive together as in a race towards all that is good. Allah knows well whatever you do. Why are you giving yourself an excuse not to get in the game? Again, no burden bearer can bear the burden of another. We have to accept that our burden is to be the best human being we can be. And if you accept that challenge and you live up to that challenge, you will actually have a wonderful life. You'll have a life where there is no stress. You'll have a life where there is peace. You'll have a life where the health is almost guaranteed because you have removed those extraneous stressors that take away your pleasures in life. God is good. As we move forward as human beings, God never stresses us with more than we can bear. God never gives us a burden we cannot bear. And whenever we begin to think that He's done that, we just haven't talked to Him about it. I like to say our Muslim prayers, our 5 times a day prayers. Think about it. We all are very conscious in our work of our appointments. You know, when you have an appointment, you want to be there. You want to be there early. Well, for Muslims, we have a 5 time a day appointment with God. And that helps us because we schedule time to talk to God during the course of our day. What a wonderful concept. But anyway, as we close, I want to remind everyone, Masjid As-Sabur, 4926 15th Avenue. Our new masjid is gorgeous. We just finished planting over 100 plants in front of the masjid. We just got through cleaning up the kitchen and getting ready to clean up all of the wudu stations. And we want you to come and join us. Every Friday, 1:30 p.m., Masjid As-Sabur, Sacramento. We are also on the web, www.masjidassabur.org. And we're on Facebook, so please like us. Again, we thank you for your patience and your time. We want to remind you that God truly has a message for you. And we want to remind you that we are here to give you any help that you may need. As God has taught us, He is a merciful God. As long as you come to Him and ask forgiveness, He will forgive you. So no matter where you are in life, there is a hope for change. Make that change and have the life you deserve. I close as I open with the greetings of all of the prophets, from Abraham to Muhammad, the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. May God's peace be with you. As-Salamu alaikum. I want to remind everyone, Masjid As-Sabur, 4926 15th Avenue. Our new masjid is gorgeous. We just finished planting over 100 plants in front of the masjid. We just got through cleaning up the kitchen and getting ready to clean up all of the wudu stations, and we want you to come and join us. Every Friday, 1:30 p.m., Masjid As-Sabur, Sacramento. We are also on the web, www.masjidassabur.org. And we're on Facebook, so please like us. Again, we thank you for your patience and your time. We want to remind you that God truly has a message for you. And we want to remind you that we are here to give you any help that you may need. As God has taught us, He is a merciful God. As long as you come to Him and ask forgiveness, He will forgive you. So no matter where you are in life, there is a hope for change.